Hi friends, welcome here. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today I wanted to share all of my kind of like honorable mentions of favorite books of 2023, basically my almost favorite books from 2023 that I read, because there were still some other books that I didn't share in my favorites video that I would still recommend, that I still really enjoyed, that two of these I actually gave 5 stars, but they just didn't quite hit the favorite books of the year mark compared to all of the other ones. But I still wanted to have a video where I could recommend these and talk about some of these that I read in 2023. So that's what this video is. Hope you enjoy. Most of it all is Christian fiction. There's just one that isn't Christian fiction. So I will specify, but let's jump in. So the first one is The Promise of Rain by Nicole Deese. And I gave this 5 stars, and I can't pinpoint why it didn't make the favorites list, but it still is 5 stars. While I was reading this, I was like, this is an amazing book. Like, I thought it was super well written and I liked the storyline, I liked the characters, but there was something missing for it to like be a favorite book. Anyways, so basically this follows, there's 2 businesses that border each other, and one is like a super fancy resort, the other is like a food, or what is it? It sells stuff. It's a store. You follow a girl named Rain who is a part of this like kind of dynasty of this like big fancy resort, and her uncle runs it. And then there is like another business on the border of the land that they don't speak to. They have bad blood and we don't know why. Like, she's just not allowed to even go over there. She's not allowed to talk to anyone. But at the beginning, she's like kind of in a desperate situation, and the only place to turn is that land. So she goes over there and she sees a young man who she knew as a child because they were friends, and she's like, oh snap, I'm not supposed to talk to him, but I need his help. So she gets his help and she tries to like keep it a secret. And so it's very similar to Romeo and Juliet because they're not supposed to associate, and the guy knows that as well, but they do get along and they are friends and they start to catch feelings, and it's a story of their romance. But then also kind of in the background, you know that there are wildfires going around, and so this is set in summer and there's fire, and so everyone's kind of on alert if they have to evacuate. So there's that going on, and then the 2 of them end up like working together and helping each other. So it was very good. Like, it was well written. I liked the romance. I liked the plot. I thought the messaging in this book was so good. The mystery in it was so good, but it just didn't make the favorite books list. So I wanted to at least talk about it here because it definitely is an honorable mention, and I gave it 5 stars for a reason. So yeah, I would recommend this if you're interested. It's definitely a good one. And this is Christian fiction, so it is totally clean, no language, and really good romance. Okay, the other book that I gave 5 stars is The Bridge to Spell Island by Julie Klassen. And this didn't make my like favorite books of the year video, but it is in my favorite historical romance video. So you have seen this before. I think just once again, compared to the other books that I read, it didn't make my favorite books of the year, but it is still a 5-star read for me. I still really enjoyed it. I don't know, like, I think because it was just such a simple romance with some mystery, I loved it. I thought it was well written. I liked the characters. I was really into it. So this girl's uncle is murdered and she's one of the suspects. And you also follow the partner of the uncle who was killed, trying to figure out what happened, and then she has a romance with him. So yeah, I really liked it. There was a lot of great side characters. The mystery was interesting to me, and so I gave it 5 stars for that reason, but I don't think that it stands out as a favorite book of the year, even though it was 5 stars. So once again, yeah, still recommend it. And this is Christian fiction, so it is clean, no language, so that's really nice. Okay, so on to some 4 stars that still were great and didn't make the favorites list, but I still think about them, I still liked them, I would still recommend them. So here we go. Memory Lane by Becky Wade. Okay, I did give this 4 stars. The romance wasn't my favorite at times. It definitely frustrated me sometimes, and so that's why I was like, I can't give this 5 stars. But I love Becky Wade's writing, and I really do love her characters and the way she writes them together and the dynamics. Like, I really did like it. This is like an amnesia storyline where this guy is floating in the water and the girl sees him and saves him, and he has no memories, so she nurses him back to health and they form a relationship. But it's definitely slow burn because she has trauma, he has no memories, they're getting to know each other, and it's kind of like a lot going on, a lot to figure out, because on his side of things, there's quite a mystery. There's quite a lot of like tea there. So you're really figuring out his family. The girl just has so much trauma and she needs to like do a lot of healing in herself. So you kind of watch the two of them figure that out together. And I thought it was really well done, and I'm certainly going to keep reading her books and keep reading this series. Another great 4-star was Husband Auditions by Angela Ruth Strong. This was my first ever book by this author, and this was super fun. Basically, this girl, I think she's 30, I relate, and she's not married and she wants to be married, but she feels like maybe she's doing something wrong. So she ends up finding this list, I think this list of like 50 things of how to get a husband. And so she wants to try to do them to see if it works. And then her brother's roommate wants to film her doing it. And he's a dude and he's like, oh, I have this YouTube channel. I'll film you doing these things. It'll be great. It'll benefit both of us because I'll also like help you and make sure you're safe and all the things. And she's like, okay. And so one thing that I did love about this book though, the faith was so good because they actually went to church and you actually saw them at church and like saw their thoughts and saw what was going on there. It was so refreshing for that. Like really enjoyed seeing how the faith was displayed here. And then their friendship was really great. Like it's definitely like kind of a slow burn friendship to more kind of romance. And I did like that. I think just, yeah, I didn't connect with the main character as much, but it was still a great book. I still really enjoyed it and I would read more from this author. So I would recommend this one. This is Christian fiction, of course, clean and no language, and yeah, really good. Okay, and then I never talked about the Murphy Shepherd trilogy, and I think it's because I gave all 3 of these books 4 stars, but the trilogy as a whole, I could have justified putting it on my favorites list, but at the same time I was like, I don't know. Like they do stand out for sure though. This is a great trilogy. It's just there's slow parts in each of the books, so it's not a favorite of all time for that reason. But yeah, so this is the first book, The Waterkeeper, and you follow a guy named Murphy Shepherd who has taken it upon himself to combat human trafficking, and he tries to save girls and boys, but mostly girls, that are stuck in it. And it's set on the coast, the east coast of the States, kind of in the Florida Keys area, and beautiful setting, absolutely beautiful. And Charles Martin's writing is just stunning. I love his writing. He writes great characters, but he also does take his time sometimes to explain things, and that gets boring for me. So each book kind of had some times where I was like, okay, get on with it. But the plot was amazing. The characters were amazing. Really loved it. Highly recommend this trilogy by him. And the audiobooks are awesome. I listened to all 3 on audiobook and really enjoyed it. So, okay, I actually have 2 non-Christian books. So here we go. First one is How to Kiss Your Best Friend by Jenny Proctor. I gave this 4 stars, but like this was great. And I definitely want to read more books by this author, and I liked it a lot because yeah, I just love the best friend trope. You guys know that. And this one was just done so well because it was very funny, and I loved their dynamic because they were truly friends. Like they hung out like they were friends, and you could see the friendship being real. So it wasn't just like we were being told, we were being shown as well. So I liked that a lot. Basically, the guy has liked this girl his whole life, but she is like stir crazy. She doesn't want to live in their small town. She wants to go and explore and travel the world, which she did. But then she's coming back to her hometown. I forget why. She had like a break between her travels, and he's still there doing his thing. He's a high school teacher, and so that was cool to see. It was like such a normal job, and it wasn't like fancy, but it like made him just really cute in my opinion. So then yeah, they meet up again, and a lot of like funny things happen between them. And you really got to see her work through what does she actually want out of life, and is this romance with this guy like worth it to keep her there. And even though there was a lot of back and forth, I didn't find it annoying. I still was really entertained, and I liked the story a lot. This is clean romance, which is so nice. And I don't think there was any language either. I don't remember language, and it was definitely clean. They only kissed, and it was really good. So for sure I want to keep reading from this author. And I know this is kind of like a companion series, the like How to Kiss Whoever. So I definitely want to explore getting more of these books, but this was really great. So it definitely stands out, but I did give it 4 stars just because there was nothing that like made it 5-star level, but definitely an honorable mention. Okay, and lastly, I did give this book 5 stars too, actually. 5 stars to The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This, I think, was my second ever Sally Hepworth book, and I did put the first book that I read, The Good Sister, on my favorites list, and The Soulmate, I guess I just was comparing it to The Good Sister, and comparing them, The Good Sister stands out way more. But as a thriller in itself, The Soulmate was great. I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing, and I love the way Sally Hepworth breaks down the background of the characters and why they are who they are in the present moment. So there is a lot of flashbacks, which normally I hate flashbacks, but she does it so well where each one is interesting and it doesn't feel like filler. And I was there for it. I was there for the ride. I really enjoyed myself reading it. And I haven't read a ton of thrillers myself, so it's not like I have much to compare it to, but I just still really loved it. For this one, you follow a husband and wife duo, and I think they have 1 or 2 kids. Maybe 2, maybe 1, I forget. They have kids, and they live on this kind of cliff. And the cliff they live on is known for people going to commit suicide there. But ever since they moved in, the husband has seen people out there probably going to jump, and he goes out and convinces them not to. So now they have a reputation of like saving all of these people, and it's like has a good reputation now. But then there's a time when a woman's out there, he goes out there to talk her down, and she still goes over the edge. And the wife sees her go over the edge, and she's like, oh no, what happened? He didn't save her this time. Like, he didn't convince her not to jump. And so she runs out there and like, what happened? And the husband is just like, oh, I don't know. She wouldn't listen to me. I couldn't stop her. And you figure out why. And you figure out who that lady was. You figure out this couple and what's the tea behind that. And it sounds kind of dull or like not that interesting, but I was fascinated. I was gripped. I loved it. I really did. And I found the characters so interesting to me. And then there actually became kind of 2 storylines you started following, because you do start following the woman who went over the edge. You follow her storyline too. You get to know who she is. And I loved those parts too. Like, I didn't find any part boring. So I was very into it. I liked it a lot, and that kind of solidified me as like, I want to read everything Sally Hepworth writes, because impressed. Wow. So yeah, those are all of my honorable mentions, all of my like almost favorite books. And I just wanted to like kind of have some kind of video where I could talk about them. Hopefully you got some more recommendations. I'll write them all down below. And if you wanted to check them out, I do also start linking the Amazon links for these books if you wanted to check them out on Amazon. Thank you for doing that. If you did miss it, I'll link my favorite books of the year video down below, because all of the best books are in that video. And I was so excited to share them with you. But these are just some more for you. So there you go. And hope you have a great day, you guys. I'll see you next time.